One Mic with Big Mike show starts in 5 minutes. Follow the show on Spreaker.com or the Spreaker app and be a part of the show via the live interactive chat room. You can text your thoughts to 404-902-8104. Check out the Facebook live stream at facebook.com/One Mic with Big Mike. The One Mic with Big Mike show starts in 4 minutes. Follow the show on Spreaker.com or the Spreaker app and be a part of the show via the live interactive chat room. You can text your thoughts to 404-902-8104. Check out the Facebook live stream at facebook.com/One Mic with Big Mike. The One Mic with Big Mike show starts in 3 minutes. Follow the show on Spreaker.com or the Spreaker app and be a part of the show via the live interactive chat room. You can text your thoughts to 404-902-8104. Check out the Facebook live stream at facebook.com/One Mic with Big Mike. The One Mic with Big Mike show starts in 2 minutes. Follow the show on Spreaker.com or the Spreaker app and be a part of the show via the live interactive chat room. You can text your thoughts to 404-902-8104. Check out the Facebook live stream at facebook.com/One Mic with Big Mike. The One Mic with Big Mike show starts in 1 minute. The One Mic with Big Mike show starts in 30 seconds. You've been warned. The One One Mic with Big Mike show starts now. Here he is.
He's real cocky, he's real loudmouth, he's real flamboyant. He don't cow down to people.
Big Mike.
Yes, sir. Here on, what is this, Labor Day? Labor Day here on the One Mic with Big Mike show. What up, y'all? I'm being heard live right now on Spreaker.com, the Spreaker app, the TuneIn app, and of course, the One Mic with Big Mike .com website. Don't forget, if you don't get a chance to stick around for the entire show, it is also available on demand on every last one of those platforms, as well as on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Play Music, and YouTube. I got the Facebook live stream pumping right now, so head on over to my Facebook page if you want to check out what I'm doing, which is nothing but sitting here and talking into a microphone. But if you are one of those people who like to watch, head on over to at the number one MICWITHBIGMIKE. Use that same handle for my Twitter and my Instagram. So give me some likes, give me some follows, all those type of things. Also, if you guys want to be a part of the show, you want to get your comments off, your questions off, your criticisms off, you can do so in a variety of different ways. You can do so first by texting the show at 404-902-8104, 404-902-8104. You can also leave your comments and whatever else you want to say below my streaming video here on Facebook, or the way I would prefer that catches my eye most immediately is for you to jump on in my live interactive chat room here on Spreaker. Just head on over to Spreaker, SPREAKER.com, or download that Spreaker app from your app store to your mobile device. Then once you start listening, you'll see a little thought bubble icon. Just click on that. Boom. You'll be up inside the live interactive chat room. You'll be able to interact with me, interact with the other people in the chat room, and have a good old time here on a Labor Day. I just today found out what the hell Labor Day is all about. And it would only serve to right that you a-holes shouldn't be off today. It's a celebration of labor, which means you should be doing something, which is why I'm doing my show today. You know, I don't really do the holiday thing. For those of you who've heard the show before, I don't do the holiday thing. I think most of the time it's stupid. It's just manufactured and generic. This is what you're going to do today, control over people. Nah, I'm just going to live my life regularly. If I want to barbecue, I'll barbecue whenever day I want to. If it's on a Wednesday, if it's just on a normal Saturday in May or whatever, I'll just do it then. I don't have to wait for the 4th of July or wait for Labor Day and all these kind of crazy things that people seem to set aside just for, cranking up the grill and getting drunk and being stupid and taking off work and whatever. So that's my take on that. But I did look it up today what Labor Day was all about. Apparently it has something to do with the right to work or workers' rights or something. There was some protests that went on a long, long time ago. I just really skimmed it. I didn't get into depth or whatever. So anyway, let's set the show up. As far as today's show goes, of course, at the bottom of the hour, we don't have a guest. I'll take you guys back in time, give you guys a little history lesson with my feature on this day, where I give you some tidbits and factoids on some historical things that happened on this particular day in history. As far as the show goes, got to talk college football, man. Had a lot of college football went on this weekend, and I damn near watched all of it, man. This is what I do kind of like that first week of college football. I kind of just binge on everything, every possible thing that I can watch. And you know what thought came to my mind while I was watching? I was like, if you're a good football player, or if you think you're a good football player and you don't make it to the NFL, you're not a good football player. There's too many ways for you to be exposed in 2017 or in this era of playing college football. No matter who you play for, you'll get seen. I do believe I probably had the opportunity to watch a bit of every college football game that was played. Well, I may be overselling it. A lot of college football is what I watched this weekend. And it just made me think, like, these hidden gems, they probably don't exist anymore. You know what I mean? People will find you if you're good. If you're good enough, somebody's going to see you on TV somewhere. If you do something spectacular, it's going to be on Sports Center, or somebody's going to tweet it out, or Facebook or Instagram it or something like that. And you'll get seen, which, it's a good thing. I'm not saying as though it's a bad thing, but, just understand, for those of you who got kids and got kids that have aspirations of playing in the NFL. It's not like I came out of school in 95, and it was one of those things that you felt like you had to go to like a big school. You had to go to Michigan, I had to go to Ohio State or Georgia, to get a shot at the next level. Nowadays, nah, not so much. Just play ball, man. If you can play ball, you can play ball. Look at what's the kid's name? Carson Wentz. So yeah, we're gonna talk about a lot of college football because a lot of things happened this weekend. It was what college football is, what college sports is. a lot of ups, a lot of downs. But for the most part, I can't say that I was disappointed. A lot of things happened that I was glad that they happened. I was glad that Baylor got it knocked in by Liberty. Good. Like, I still don't understand why that school even has a football program. To be honest with you, but they do, and good for Liberty. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about, in the midst of talking about college football, I'll give you guys what some of the Heisman hopefuls did. We'll try to do that every week, kind of give you guys an update, because guys will be falling out. Guys will be falling out of this Heisman Trophy race, and guys will be entering the Heisman Trophy race. The guy I want you guys to kind of look out for, that kid that plays running back, young kid that plays running back for Ohio State. Of course, who did they play on Thursday last week? And they had a little bit of trouble with him in the first half. Now I can't think of who. Indiana, right? And I heard Indiana supposedly has a good defense, and they look good. Their defense looked good, but the kid that plays running back for them, apparently he's filling in for the starter, who's got a groin injury, but he looks nice. He looks real nice. So keep an eye on him, because if this kid got a groin, those things linger, man. So if this young kid, number 2, is getting more run, maybe he might be one of those guys that sneaks in. We see it every year, right? We see a guy who sneaks into this Heisman Trophy conversation. I want to talk about Hurricane Harvey as well. There's another storm coming. They don't know which way it's going to hit the eastern seaboard, or if it's going to make its way into that area that already been hit. Irma's on the way. So I want to talk about some of the stuff that's going on around Hurricane Harvey, though. J.J. Watt's doing big things. Also, I realized today, you can also, I kept mentioning the American Red Cross last week, but you guys can also give, if you guys mess with PayPal, I mess with PayPal. I had to make a purchase today, and they asked for money, so I was like, all right, since I'm here, I'll make another donation. So I made another donation via PayPal today. So that's another way, if you guys use PayPal. And for a lot of people who are skeptics of where the money's going and who this money's going to, you can shoot some organizations. They got like 5 or 6 organizations that you can donate money to through PayPal. So that's another way you can try to help those people out, man. Those people down there in Houston. The water is starting to subside, but with that water subsiding, man, it's like revealing your nightmare. You know what I mean? Like, now the water's gone, and you get to go home. For a lot of people, you get to go home and see the devastation and things that came with all that effing water, man, all that rain and whatnot. Dudes, the cats is finding like alligators in their crib, like wild beasts are in people's cribs, man. Folks are having to rip out all the guts of their whole crib. You know what I'm saying? They're dealing with, now, of course, the water brings mold, so you got to deal with the mold. And I just posted this article a few minutes ago on my Facebook. If that ain't enough, the people who are renting down there, the landlords are like, we need our money. You know what I'm saying? It's the 1st. You know what I'm saying? Like, the 5th is tomorrow. We need our money, because we need our rent money. And these folks are like, what rent money? We don't have nothing. we don't have no money. We don't have no jobs. We can't go to our gigs because they're shut down. They are saying that some businesses are opening up tomorrow in the Houston area to try to, get things back on track. But it's so much just bad. It's just bad for those folks down there. So if you can give, man, if you got something that you can give, I'm also in the Atlanta area. Anybody listening in the Atlanta area, I'm looking for somewhere that takes it's taking clothes. You know what I mean? Because we got clothes here. Me and my old lady. They already boxed up too. We just hadn't called nobody to come get them. They just, clothes that we don't wear no more. They're not. I don't believe in giving people like beat up, old, raggedy, like rags, man. My mom taught me better than that. Like, you shouldn't give somebody something that you wouldn't wear if you was in their situation. You know what I mean? And just because somebody don't have nothing, you shouldn't just expect for them to be grateful for any piece of crap, dirty, filthy, stuff you cut the grass in clothes. It's just like, with us, it's just stuff that, is out of style, or stuff that we don't fit anymore for whatever reason, either gotten too big or gotten too small, whichever one. So if anybody knows anybody in the Atlanta area that's collecting clothes for the people in Houston, I'm sure I could just take them to one of those bins and then dump them in there, but that's not necessarily something that's going to go to the people that's out there in Houston or whatnot. So you can hit me up, 404-902-8104. You can send me a text, or hit me up on social media at One Mike with Big Mike, and let me know, or just shoot me an email, mike@onemikewithbigmike.com, and let me know if you know anybody that's taking donations, clothing donations and whatnot, for the people that's been displaced and been just devastated by Hurricane Harvey. And I'm sure by next week we'll be talking about hurricane or tropical storm Irma. They're talking about a Category 5. That's the strongest hurricane that's hit in years since whatever the one that hit Miami was in the 90s. Was that the 80s? 80s or the 90s? Yeah. So yeah, it just don't stop. Meanwhile, your man, the Orange Ghoul, Comrade Orange, what climate change? What climate change? All right, douchebag. So anyway, this weekend in college football tonight, we got Georgia Tech, Tennessee going on right here in the city of Atlanta in the Georgia Dome. That's going on at 8 o'clock, so I ain't going to be here. Speaking of, they're showing it right now. I ain't going to be here all night, man. I'm going to get off this microphone and go watch me some football. But this week, man, like every week, this is going to be pretty much every week in college football, man. We're going to get upsets. We're going to get near upsets, comebacks, if we saw the UCLA situation last night, which ended up, as exciting, as energetic as that was, as a great way of capping off the weekend of college football. It's still, it's kind of marred in a little bit of controversy, and we'll talk about that here in just a second. And, teams experience tragedy. Not tragedy of the level that I started the show talking about when we talking about the hurricane victims, but tragedy nonetheless. Shout out to the people, to the guys at Howard. My man, God, now I can't think of his name. My man who was on the show last week. What the hell was his name? Greg? See, y'all know I'm terrible with these damn names, too. And his name probably ain't Greg, is it? His last name is Pope, but now I can't think of his first damn name. Anyway, he went to Howard. He's a Bison, so shout out to them, man. They beat the UNLV Rebels, or are they the Running Rebels? Jeff Pope. What did I say? Greg? Damn, I was close. Jeff Pope. They beat the UNLV Running Rebels, man. And that's it's a good look. I don't want people to lose their minds over it. It's UNLV. It's not necessarily a football school, but they were favored. Vegas, they were out in Vegas, and Vegas had them as a 45-point favorite. And Howard went out there and took care of business with Cam Newton's little brother. Was the quarterback. I think he ran for like 190 yards. So shout out to them, man. Black schools doing big things. Here's the best part about this situation, or maybe the worst. If you were a Howard alum, because I couldn't see anybody else doing this, you put $100 on Howard to win this game outright, you'd have went home with $71,000 off a $100 bet. I didn't go to a black school. I didn't go to Howard, so there would be no reason for me to put that kind of scratch down on that team. But if you're an alumni, man, step up and do big things, man. Scared money don't make no money. I already mentioned Liberty beating Baylor. I don't even know where Liberty is, but shout out to Liberty. It's almost poetic justice. A team named Liberty beats Baylor's, rape culture having ass. And apparently, we talked about last week Art Browse getting a job. His man June Jones hiring him with the Saber Cats, the Tiger Cats, whoever they were in the CFL. Well, he actually that offer got rescinded. But then they found out that Baylor gave this dude a glowing recommendation. I'm like, what part of the game is that, man? The dude that's covering up gang rapes. How glowing could the recommendation be? You know what I'm saying? Like, people know this dude can coach football, but at the end of the day, kind of goes a little bit beyond that. You know what I mean? And like, I'm not the dude that says, a man. Well, I guess depending on the discretion, but a discretion shouldn't keep you from the opportunity of making a living. But my problem is, this don't happen with the other side. Like, this don't happen with black people. You know what I'm saying? Like, as we sit here in this fourth day of September, Colin Kaepernick, he ran afoul to some people, some idiots. And because those idiots control NFL football teams, he's being denied a right to earn a job in his chosen field of football. But for whatever reason, that same thing doesn't apply to Art Browse. And his indiscretion, if you want to call Colin Kaepernick's protest an indiscretion, is way more devious. It's damn near criminal. But if you follow me on Facebook, or if you're my Facebook friend, I make constant references. Well, not constant. I make periodic references to the complexion protection. And I don't, Colin Kaepernick doesn't doesn't have that luxury of the complexion protection. So when you run a foul, it's a wrap. You got to wear that forever. You got to wear them scars forever. So hopefully Baylor will go 0. And you know, you don't really want to be. I don't really want to be that shady when it comes to the kids, but whatever, man. I hope that school goes 0 in everything forever and ever and ever. You know what I mean? James Madison beat ECU. That was another upset. Here, look, let me ask y'all something about upsets. Maryland beat Texas, right? And it feels so much like Texas was ranked like 23rd or 24th, and I didn't even realize that till the game was about to be over. And I'm like, what the hell are they? Didn't they win like 5 games last year? Because they fired Charlie Strong. Now all of a sudden that gives them a ranking. Come on, man. Like who is not ranked? Is the better question. Who was not ranked so that Texas could be, based on their name, based on their program, and the hope for Tom Herman. Like that dude showed up on campus with a lot of bluster and a lot of, you know, tricks and gimmicks and whatnot, and they were all for naught. Like I guess he had these cats walking around with water bottles, like squeeze bottles, right, as a way of being accountable. So if you left your water bottle somewhere, it showed how much you cared. Nah, things like that. You know, in the grand scheme of things, they sound cool if you start winning football games. But when you at the crib and you give up 51 points to Baylor, to Maryland, yeah, that water bottle stuff, it's real corny. Like, it's corny already, but it turns out to be extra corny when you can't get guys to just show a little bit of discipline. That was the problem when Charlie Strong was there, and that's what he was trying to rectify and correct. But of course, he ran out of time and wasn't able to do that. But it seems like much the same, and all your man is doing is like, well, we weren't going to sprinkle pixie dust on it and change it overnight. Like, look, dude, to whom much is given, much is required, man. Is that a Bible thing? Am I doing Bible things today? Sounds like I'm doing Bible things today. Yeah, you at Texas, dude. You ain't at Houston no more. You got all the resources that you want to. Of course you can. Of course you. I mean, Jim Harbaugh went to Michigan with the same type of situation, right? Jim Harbaugh went to Michigan and was like, you know what we're going to do? Win 10 games immediately, to the point now where people are asking, like, if he doesn't win a national championship, or at least get into the Final Four this year and compete for a national championship next year, are we looking at some sort of a failure? Like, this is how quickly this dude, he did it at Stanford. So it can be done, and he did it with a lot less resources at Stanford. Come on now, let's keep it real. But Tom Herman's like, no, I'm going to take some time. It's not even like, I watched the game. It's not even like they don't have talent, man. You start giving up special teams touchdowns. You start, block punts, explosive plays on offense. Like, that boils down. That kind of works to me, looking at your coaching. What are you teaching? And the one thing I heard him say in the press conference was that, the post-game press conference, was that the way we know how to fix things is to work harder. What are you implying? That you're not working hard initially? That, the work that you're doing isn't hard work now? It's just weird, man. Like, college coaches, they're a weird breed of human being. You know what I mean? I mentioned this last night watching your man from West Virginia, watching West Virginia take on Virginia Tech, which was a very, very entertaining game. But looking at Dana Holgorsen, the head coach for West Virginia, just lose his mind over on the sideline, just giving up penalties. I saw Nick Saban do it with a sideline penalty. It didn't hurt them, of course, because Florida State got mashed. We'll get to that in a second. But, like, think about these coaches. They preach, right? Discipline, composure. But it's never a case where we're saying, doctor, heal thyself. You know what I mean? You telling them to do it, but you're the grown man. You're like the 50, 60-something-year-old man. These is 19-year-old emotionally immature kids. But you expect something out of them that you're not able to deliver. Come on, man. It's so hypocritical. Like the entirety of the NCAA. So hypocritical in so many different ways, and that just happens to be one of them. Yeah, do as I say, not as I do. Well, Like I saw this weekend, a kid from Michigan, the kid that plays tight end for Michigan, made a great catch. He got up and he spun the football. They flagged him on some unsportsmanlike conduct. He wasn't going after anybody. He wasn't stepping to anybody with it. He just spun the football and started, getting crunk. Did that age me? Am I supposed to say getting lit or turning up or piped up? What am I supposed to say now? Because I recognize here over the last couple of, months or so, I'm the old guy, and I embrace it. You know what I mean? Like I don't understand a lot of the rap music. I don't understand what they're saying in the music. That one song by that kid Designer, he's saying, I'm thinking he's saying chimmy chimichanga, but apparently he's saying Timmy Turner. He's saying Timmy Turner in that song, and for the life of me, I still can't hear it. I just hear chimichanga. Like I'm thinking he's talking about a delicious Mexican dish. 404-902-8104 if you want to text the show. If you want to jump on in my live interactive chat room, please do so by going to Spreaker. If you're not listening via Spreaker right now, go to Spreaker. You see that little thought bubble icon there? Just click on it. It'll get you inside the live interactive chat room. Also, make sure you click the little heart icon and click the little share icons as well to let people know, that you're feeling the show. Even if you're not feeling it, click the little heart icon as well. You can also leave your comments, questions below my live streaming Facebook feed here at the number 1 MICWITHBIGMIKE is my Facebook handle. It's also the same thing for my Twitter and my Instagram. If you want to send me a tweet during the show, I'll make sure I check the Twitter, and I check the Instagram as well. So yeah, college football this weekend, man. It was lit. Some of it was lit. Some kids got off to slow starts. The kid from USC, Sam Darnold, got off to a slow start against Western Michigan. They was on upset alert for a while there, and they ended up pulling it out in the end. But there's a lot of pressure on that kid. Speaking of, I'm looking at the highlights from the game right now. Yeah, there's a lot of pressure on that kid, man, and to show what he's able to do. And there's also that USC quarterback thing. Like, we got Carson Palmer, but we also got Matt Barkley and Matt Leinart. Who else came out of that tree over there? There's a couple of USC quarterbacks that makes you not want to trust the next one, and the next one happens to be this kid Sam Darnold. So we'll see as they move through Pac-12 play. I keep telling y'all, man, pay attention to the Pac-12, man. Don't go to sleep early during the season, man. Check out the Pac-12. You got your man Willie Taggart up there at Oregon. They put up like 77 points against Sam Houston. I don't know who the hell that is. I didn't even watch the game, to be honest with you, and I wanted to. That's the one game that I wanted to watch and see what they were going to look like. But all the flipping back and forth, and I got like this crazy, I've come down with ADD in my old age. I've had to. Because now there's so much other things. Like I'm on the laptop. I got the phone in one hand. I got the TV on. I got like too many things going on for me to be actually focused on football the way I did, the way I used to be when I was younger. And I think part of it too is if I can like pass the blame a little bit. Like football fans are ridiculous people. You guys are ridiculous. You know what I mean? So, I don't like to engage you guys. So I'm pretty much watching these games dolo. I'm just watching them by myself and consuming them by myself without any type of, Twitter interaction and Facebook interaction, because people just say stupid things. People say stupid things to be saying stupid things. And they're not only just stupid, they're ignorant too. They're like, they lack knowledge. So anyway, I mentioned this USC situation, this near upset, but the crazy thing that happened in this game, They got a long snapper that's blind. Like he don't even have, like, one of his eyes is gone. I guess they took out one of his eyes and he went blind in the other one. Yeah, it was. I saw that happen, and it makes you want to reevaluate your whole situation. Like that dude can do that. You know what I mean? Like that dude has the ability to do that without seeing. He's on the football field now. I'm gonna be this guy. I am gonna be that guy because I am that guy. It's not, they weren't rushing him. The other team was in on the gig, you know what I mean? He got in the game. Game was pretty much over, but, it was something that Todd Helton, the coach? Helton, is that the coach of USC? Anyway, names. Put the kid in because he told him he was going to play. He was snapping in practice. He was able to, get it back there, get it on the money, you know what I mean? But the other team didn't rush him or nothing. They didn't come for the block or nothing. So all that being said, it was still to me like, wow, that's kind of, ill. But it also just goes to show, man, muscle memory is a fool. You do something enough times over and over and over again. You know, it's like Michael Jordan shooting free throws blindfolded. You know, you get that feel. You know, it is what it is. But shout out to the kid. I didn't take the time out to, get his name or anything or remember his name, but I felt like it was awesome. I did. I felt like it was an awesome thing. And I'm not that dude that really, I don't really go overboard on things like that, showy things like that during my football. But yeah, that was pretty cool. You know what I mean? That's pretty awesome. Now, next up, give me a blind kicker. Give me that. I'm definitely flipping out over that. And in the world of the comeback, man, the one that, that's had everybody captivated last year and last night and today, people saying stupid things. Falcons fans, shout out to my Falcons fans, man. I know you guys want to kind of pass the buck on the whole, you blew a big lead type situation. But the Texas A&M UCLA game, for those of you who didn't watch it, first of all, shame on you if you didn't watch it. But the Texas A&M UCLA game, Texas A&M was beating UCLA 44-10. And then Josh Rosen, they call him the Chosen Rosen. 5 straight touchdown drives to come back from a 34-point deficit, the second largest comeback in NCAA history, the largest being 35. So the Falcons fans saw that and got on social media like, yeah, now any Texas A&M fan that talk junk to me about my Falcons, get ready. And I was like, hold on, I can't let this proceed. That's two way different things. One happened in the biggest game ever in football. Like, no other game can be played in football that's bigger than the NFL Super Bowl. And the other one happened in game one of a non-conference football game between a team that has a chance in UCLA. They have a chance. And a team that has no chance in hell in the SEC West in Texas A&M. So there's that. Just that small little difference, but carry on. Yeah, you're just going to have to eat that. The Falcons, man, you're just going to have to eat it, man. You know what I mean? Like, when it comes to, what happened in that game, that Super Bowl, it's going to sting. It's going to stick with you for a good long while. Good long while. And it should, because that was embarrassing. As an Atlantan myself, it was embarrassing for people who were texting me during the game saying, congratulating me. You know what I mean? And because I'm the guy I am, immediately, I'm like, look, I don't wear no jersey. Arthur Blank cut me no check. Congratulations here. And I'm glad I did that. Glad I took that road instead of accepting it like many other people did. Only, I'll tell you the one thing I was doing, though. I was contemplating if I was going to go to the parade. I was like, damn, they're about to win the Super Bowl. It's going to be a parade going down Peachtree. I think I should participate. I'm starting to think of like, okay, I'm going to have to park and ride, though. I'm going to have to park my ride and then catch the MARTA down there because it's going to be deep. And I ain't going to try to be dealing with people that way and all this kind of stuff. I'm thinking along those terms. And then it happened. And I was like, well, I ain't got to worry about that. Like, that saves me a trip. It's the One Mic with Big Mike show, man, here on Spreaker.com. Also on the Spreaker app. Make sure you download that Spreaker app from your app store so that you can hear me now and anytime. Because the show is also available on demand everywhere you go on Spreaker. Tune in, OneMicWithBigMike.com, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Play Music, and, of course, YouTube. And streaming video right now on Facebook at the number 1 MICWITHBIGMIKE. Text the show at 404-902-8104, 404-902-8104, or jump inside my live interactive chat room for those of you listening to me on Spreaker right now, or leave your comments, questions, criticisms, or whatever right below the streaming video here on Facebook. When I come back, we're going to hit on this day, and I'm going to get through some more college football games, some of the stuff that I noticed this weekend, talk to you about some Heisman Trophy stuff. We got to get into this Ezekiel Elliott situation, too, before we get out of here for today, for the night, and watch some football. So I'll be back in about 2 minutes.
Well, I have one question for you.
Do you or someone you know run a business that could benefit from additional exposure? The One Mic with Big Mike show is currently taking on new sponsors and advertisers. One Mic with Big Mike is currently syndicated across 8 different online platforms, and your company's name could be heard and seen across all 8 as well.
Let's get to work.
Please send all inquiries to Mike at onemicwithbigmike.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your continued support.
All I need is one mic. I had a sore in my mouth that just wouldn't go away. And after a couple of weeks, I went to my doctor.
A sore, lump, or thick patch in your mouth or throat could be a symptom of oral cancer.
My doctor told me I was smart to come in. He said that oral cancer is more common in African American men than in any other group in the U.S. It turns out I did have oral cancer, but it was caught early and my treatment was successful. I'm glad I got it checked. That probably saved my life.
If you're an African American man, you need to know about oral cancer. Visit a doctor or dentist if you see changes in your mouth that don't go away after 2 weeks. It's important to get an oral cancer exam, because if you do have cancer, the earlier it's caught, the better. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, National Institutes of Health.
And now, back to One Mic
What are we waiting for? Let's get to it.
with Big Mike.
Lean back. Welcome back to the One Mic with Big Mike show, man. Monday, Labor Day Monday. Everybody's off work today. Hope you guys are enjoying your time off, getting ready to hit the grind again tomorrow after a long weekend. The show is being heard and is heard every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, live at 7 o'clock on Spreaker.com. The Spreaker app, that's spelled SPREAKER.com. It's like speaker with an R in between the P and the E. I'm also being heard live on TuneIn and my website, onemicwithbigmike.com, and seen live on Facebook at the Facebook page at the number 1 MIC, WITHBIGMIKE. Before I get to On This Day, did you guys know that cheap sex is making men give up on marriage? Yeah, cheap sex, as opposed to expensive sex, I guess. In this article, where did I get this article from? The New York Post. Thanks to cheap sex, marriage may be doomed. The share of Americans ages 25 to 34, not my age group, who are married dropped 13% from 2000 to 2014. A new book by sociologist Mark Regnerus blames this declining rate on how easy it is for men to get off. Regnerus calls it cheap sex, which is sex that has very little cost in terms of time, emotional investment. So it's not about, finding the cheapest hooker you can find. It's about your time and your emotions and things of that nature. The things that they say to contribute to this influx of cheap sex is the pill. I guess that isolates sex and marriage from children because people are using more contraceptives in the form of the pill. Online pornography. I can see where that would do it. And dating sites, I guess, like Tinder and all those things. The dating sites, people just know what to expect now. People ain't really expecting you to, court them. that was not age appropriate. What's the other word? Like date them, I guess, or hang out. People just like smash and grab, I guess, is what it is nowadays. He points out that in generations past, women generally made men wait until marriage to have sex. God, these poor dudes. You got to test drive the car, man. You just can't buy that thing sight unseen. But they say it gave men all the motivation they needed to become respectable members of society. He blames cheap sex for the decreasing education and employment rates among men as greater numbers of women get college degrees and enter the labor force. 6% more women than men ages 25 to 34 have bachelor's degrees. Now, this is basically, something that I've said forever. Women's private parts run the world. And the moment they actually realize, and I think more and more women are starting to realize that is the fact, that their private parts run the world, man. We gon' as dudes, well, not me, because I'm in my situation, but you young dudes, man, you want to start understanding, man. Get your stuff together. And also, it begs the question that with some of the stuff you see out of these young dudes nowadays, if women wasn't accepting of it, it would change. Like some of the stuff that people complain about, like the attire and the styles that these kids is rocking. Yeah, if these chicks wasn't with it, it would change in a heartbeat, in a millisecond. But apparently, the young chicks like what the young dudes are offering, so it maintains. Anyway, not to get too far into that, let's take a look back.
Now, let's take a look back. On this day.
All right, for your Labor Day, your Monday edition of On This Day, if I can find it. On this day in 1949, the longest pro tennis match in history was played when Pancho Gonzalez, shout out to the essay, and Ted Schroeder played 67 games in 5 sets. The record was broken in 2010. No, I did not look to see who broke it. I just says it was broken, so I believe it. On this day in 1953, the New York Yankees became the first baseball team to win 5 consecutive American League championships. What's the pinstripes? Also, shout out to the day, man, Labor Day. This is when you start paying attention to baseball today. When I start paying attention to baseball. Like now we can start talking about pennant races and MVPs, and shout out to Giancarlo Stanton. The Yankees are in first place right now. Or no. Yankees are in first place for the first wild card, I think it is right now. I need to look. I just barely skimmed over these things. But yeah, today is the day where I start paying attention to baseball. On this day in 1972, swimmer Mark Spitz, he captured his 7th Olympic gold medal in the 400-meter medley relay event in Munich, Germany. Spitz was the first Olympian to win 7 gold medals. World records were set in his thing. He set world records in all 7 of his events. I think he's the guy who Michael Phelps ended up breaking his record, right? And then finally, on this day in 1993, I was a 10th grader. Yeah, 10th grader in 93. Jim Abbott, the pitcher for the New York Yankees, pitched a no-hitter. That's not a big deal because that happens all the time. Only thing is, Jim Abbott only had one damn hand. Yeah, he was born without a right hand and pitched himself a no-hitter. That dude could feel, too. Like, you got to see, like, if you get on YouTube Jim Abbott, you can see how quickly he switches the glove from his nub to his only working hand. It's, like, amazing. And, 93, he pitched a no-hitter. That is your Monday edition of On This Day. Talking college football today, man. Back from the weekend. Talking college football. I got like a bunch of college football in me. And you know the thing that I don't do, that I should do, and I always say that I should do this, but I never do it. I ain't gonna say I never do it, but I rarely do it. Take notes. Like, I really got to do a better job of while I'm watching, taking notes. Because I'll have these thoughts during the games, and then I'll forget what they are and what I was seeing because I'm watching so many of the games. Like, I only watched a little bit of the Clemson situation just to see what the quarterback was going to be like. He looked good. Of course, they played like a little preseason warm up type of team, but he looked like they're gonna be okay. You know what I mean? Especially with what happened with Clemson, or excuse me, with Florida State. Wasn't really overly impressed with Lamar Jackson in Louisville. North Carolina's another team in the ACC, which hold on. I didn't even realize the kid that played for LSU last year, Brandon Harris, was their quarterback, and he's still bad at quarterback. He still sucks. Who do they play? Cal. They got beat by Cal. First time that those teams have ever played, and they got beat at home. Miami is another ACC team. I'm going to see Georgia Tech tonight. Miami played Bethune-Cookman, though, so that one really, not much of a test. So they got a new quarterback as well. And I wanted to look at it a little bit because when I was flipping through the little score thing that Comcast gives you when you hit the little C button, I saw Bethune-Cookman up 3-0. I was like, all right, well, let me get a piece of this real quick before the wheels fall off this joint. By the time I got back to it, the wheels fell off of it. I don't know if you guys saw this picture too. The Miami team, they wear like a thick gold chain on the sideline with a big U. It looked like a diamond encrusted U emblem on it. If you make a big play on defense or something like that. And I'm looking at this foolishness and I'm like, are y'all just begging? You begging for sanctions for the NCAA to come in and be like, come on, we can't let this. It's like the dude that's driving down the street with the box Chevy and the 40-inch rims with the bowling ball flakes and the flaky paint job and all the flip flop paint job. It's like, come on, man. Just put a sign. Just like change your license plate, personalize it to I'm the dope boy. Because eventually you're going to get pulled over on some suspicion of something, and the dog's going to come out. They're going to be ripping your seats apart. You're going to be sitting on the curb with your hands handcuffed behind your back. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. You got to be more conspicuous than that. He's sitting over there with this big Cuban link. This linebacker or whoever is sitting over on the sideline with a big Cuban link around his neck and a big, huge, like glistening Miami logo on it. I'm like, come on. What part of the game is this, man? Like, these kids, man, they got to advertise everything, man, and then be surprised when the repercussions hit them. Like, what you mean? What happened? You happened, idiot. You know what I mean? And I always refrain from doing that too. Like, he's so stupid or he's being an idiot. But in this case, what you want me to do, man? You know what I mean? Like what you want me? How you want me to handle that? You got. If you hadn't seen it, and I try to remember when the show is over, to put it on my Facebook, man, because yeah, it's just, you just gotta do better. I mean, I don't know any other way to put it. You just gotta do better, man. So yeah, you know, I watched, tried to consume everything, but I didn't really do a lot of writing. You know, a lot of like putting things on paper as far as what I was looking at and what I was seeing. I'm trying to like do it right now, like kind of just off the cuff. Speaking of Georgia Tech playing tonight, Lane Kiffin kind of caught a brick a little bit. His first game out, he got to play Navy with the triple option. Like, that ain't ever good. Because the one thing that they going to do, especially because at one point Navy was up by 2 scores. And when Navy gets up or down, it's like Georgia Tech. They get up or down by 2 scores, forget about it. You know what I'm saying? Because if they get down by 2 scores, they don't have the ability to pass the ball effectively enough out of that triple option to mount comebacks. If they get up by 2 scores, well, they're going to take the air out of the football and just grind you into dust. And that's what happened to Lane Kiffin's boys. What did Florida Atlantic? They just ground them boys into dust. I thought that kid also, the kid that transferred from Florida State or got kicked out of Florida State was going to be their quarterback, but it wasn't him. It was another kid that played quarterback for them. And while we're talking about playing quarterbacks, my God, watching the University of Florida on offense is so heartbreaking and sad. You know, just football wise, it's just sad, man. They've got real athletes that play defense over there and have for years at this point, but they haven't been in the state of Florida. Haven't been able to find a quarterback since Tim Tebow, and I didn't even realize Tim Tebow stepped on campus 10 years ago. Yeah, it hadn't been 10 years since he's been at Florida, but he got to campus while Chris Leak was there before him. He got there 10 years ago in 2007. And since then, they haven't been able to find a damn quarterback? Come on. What part of the game is that? You in the state of Florida. Since then, like, Jimbo's had this kid Francois. He's had Jameis. He's had even like E.J. Manuel. I mean, for a college quarterback, E.J. Manuel was cool. Christian Ponder was cool as well. You know what I mean? Mark Richt had that Brad Kaya down there at Miami. Come on, man. That's unacceptable. I don't know what the deal is, but that's way past acceptable, man. What up, Paul? Paul Markwart? I hope I'm saying that right, my man. Hollering at me from Turkey. No doubt. We got folks listening, checking in on Facebook. On Turkey, you guys can check in too, man. Facebook.com/1 MICWITHBIGMIKE 1 Mike with Big Mike. Holler at your boy, man. You can also text the show at 404-902-8104. So yeah, man. I'm watching Florida and Michigan, and like Michigan's quarterback, that kid Spate, he's not the next coming of Tom Brady. You know what I'm saying? But against like his counterpart, they got my man over there, Malik Zaire. And I'm gonna say this: I ain't gonna crush this kid because apparently he's only been on campus for like a month. You know what I mean? And it looked like it. It looked like basically he didn't know what the hell was going on there. He's holding the football, he's getting slammed, he's like taking off and running immediately after the first after the first. Reed is gone. And for what it's worth, man, like hopefully, they get him up to speed, because they didn't even want to see Jack Del Rio's boy, Vinny Del Negro. Is his name Vinny Del Rio? I'm making that up right now. What is Jack Del Rio's boy's name? The Del Rio kid that plays quarterback for Florida, that played last year. They weren't even trying to see him. Yeah, son. Yeah, man. It's a cold day in Florida, man, and I would have really had enjoyed that game, man. They got 2 pick sixes and lost the football game big too. Like, it wasn't even close. They had 2 pick sixes. You show me a team that gets 2 pick sixes and loses the football game. Neutral site football game as well. They played that game at Jerry's World in Dallas. Yeah, they suck. Before I get out of here tonight, I got to remember to talk to you guys about LeVar Ball. He rarely makes the show. You know what I mean? I do that on purpose, but we're going to talk about LeVar Ball, man. And possibly, time permits, the season finale of Power. Or just Power in general. You know what I mean? Because just Power in general. Where did I leave off at? Oh, and then you got Bama and FSU. That game was billed as the best game ever for an opening week, based on the rankings, of course. Number 1 and 3, two teams ranked that closely have never played one another, and quite frankly, FSU just looked outmatched. They looked totally outmatched by that Bama squad, because and as outmatched as Florida State looked, Bama didn't even play that well. The kid, golly, what is his name? I got Francois on my mind, DeAndre Francois on my mind. I can't think of the other kid's name. Jalen Hurts. I mean, he didn't play lights out football at the quarterback position, but because Alabama is what they are defensively, and because they run the ball so effectively and so hard, eventually they're gonna get you, man. They're not gonna make a lot of mistakes, and that's what you saw in that football game on Saturday night. Now, as far as Florida State goes, man, their quarterback is gone. If you hadn't heard, he got a patella tendon issue, which required surgery. That's going to keep him out for the rest of the season. They got to turn to a freshman quarterback to try to lead them going forward for the rest of the year, which turns the ACC into, like I was mentioning earlier. Like, now you look at Clemson and say, okay, well, they got a young quarterback, but what else is there for them to compete against? Of course, Lamar Jackson is there, but who really trusts that Louisville situation after you saw what they did against Purdue? And I don't know a lot about Purdue, which actually, what brings me to this point. No need to overreact for a lot of teams. For USC, for Florida State, if you're Clemson, no need to overreact positively because you beat a scrub team. Georgia got an injury. Their quarterback, Jacob Eason, is going to miss the Notre Dame game next week. They beat the brakes off of Appalachian State. I can't think of the new quarterback's name. The young kid, he's from Warner Robins, I guess, here in Georgia. Played pretty well, because that's another game that I tuned into it to see a little bit of it, to see what was going on. I wanted to see what was going on with the Easton kid, but then as soon as I turned it on, he runs out of bounds and gets hurt. He turns his ankle and get hurt. So then I get to see this other kid, and he threw the ball very well. Actually, he threw the ball pretty well, from my estimation. Of course, Nick Chubb did his thing. Obviously, he got him about close to 100 yards. But they've got Nick Chubb on this Heisman list, but it's going to be hard for him because Sony Michel is a good running back. He's a damn good running back, and I think he's more of a home run threat than is Nick Chubb. I think Nick Chubb is the name that we've gotten to know over the last couple of years. Sony Michel has experienced some injuries, but he's a damn good running back. And throughout his years, man, he's put on a little bit of weight and still has been able to maintain a little bit of that quickness and speed as well. So, as far as a Heisman Trophy, at the University of Georgia, probably not, because these dudes are going to kind of cannibalize each other, and it's not going to really work out. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens as far as the SEC East is concerned. This game tonight might have some bearing on it, not as far as the standings or anything, but you get to see Tennessee, a team that was slated to win the SEC East last year, and then I don't know what happened with that team. They lost games that they should have won games they should have lost. It was just real weird and stupid. People was transferring that kid, that big kid, that running back, transferred somewhere. Now he's playing tight end wherever he's at. It's just kind of a weird season for Tennessee. And then Florida snuck in there and won, and then got bombed in the Georgia Dome. How much time I got? I got a couple minutes left before the top of the hour, and so I'm gonna close by talking about this situation here. I'm sorry. The Heisman Trophy, guys. So let me give you guys real quick a rundown of what the Heisman Trophy, I don't want to call them, give you a look at the Heisman Trophy watch list. Let's call it that. Saquon Barkley, kid that plays running back at Penn State, good ass running back too. He ended up with 172 rushing yards, 54 receiving, 2 touchdowns, but they played Akron, right? So temper that a little bit, but still, if he would have run for 98 yards on 30 carries, it would have been a big deal in the other direction. So the fact that he did what he was supposed to do, over 226 total yards from scrimmage, even though it was against the Akron squad, shout out to him. Lamar Jackson in a close one, probably a little bit closer than a lot of people thought, against Purdue. He did Lamar Jackson type things, 30 or 46 passing the ball for 378 yards, 2 touchdowns. He ran the football 21 times for 107 yards. They only won 35-28 over Purdue, though. So again, as the title to this episode says, we got a long way to go. And I think the mark of some of these teams is to see how they improve as the season goes on. Like certain teams, you saw it with Louisville last year, they fizzled at the end, right? After the Clemson loss, it felt like they had sort of a hangover in the subsequent games after that. So we'll see about the teams that get better. I'm looking for the teams like Ohio State to get better after struggling a little bit with Indiana. I'm looking for them to get better and find their stride a little bit more and more and more. USC is another team I'm looking for them to get better as they get into conference play, especially. I think they got Stanford next week, I believe. I don't remember. Baker Mayfield, the new Johnny Manziel, kind of, sort of. Hopefully minus the cocaine. That dude went 19 for 20 in a football game, in a real college football game. He went 19 for 20, 329 yards, 3 touchdowns. They beat the crap out of the University of Texas El Paso. Darius Geis, a name that you're not really hearing a lot about, the guy who's replacing Leonard Fournette. But I talked about him a little bit during the offseason, man. Of course, I couldn't remember his name, but he's the guy who had to play a lot last year because, of course, Leonard Fournette was hurt a lot. 122 yards, 2 touchdowns on 27 carries. They took care of BYU. Oh, my God, I didn't even realize BYU didn't score a point. They're supposed to be like this we can throw it on anybody type. Wow. Now, I saw BYU play their first game against Pacific, and they struggled a little bit against Pacific, and maybe that was a precursor to what happened on Saturday because I didn't watch, I don't think, any of this LSU game, Then it was Josh Chosen Rosen. 35 of 59. He threw the ball 56 times for 491 yards and 4 touchdowns. Had that fake spike at the end of the game, which was pretty ill, But if you look at the replay, if you go to my Facebook page at the number 1 MICWITHBIGMIKE, scroll down a little bit, there's video that play should have been reviewed. The receiver bobbled the football with 1 foot down, but by the time he got control, that second foot came out of bounds. That play should not have counted. But everybody was losing their damn mind. This is the problem, man. You got officials. They're human too, and they feel the emotion. They feel that crowd. They feel all that kind of stuff. And they let that one. The officials kind of had like a bad weekend too. To me, I mentioned already the unsportsmanlike conduct stuff, and also there was a pass interference, a blatant pass interference in that Florida State Alabama game. That I don't know how the game turns out if that play gets called and they end up punching it in from the 1 yard line because the foul occurred in the end zone. Who knows? But the thing is, we don't know now because it didn't get called and it was very, very blatant. But anyway, back to Josh Rosen. He had 292 yards passing and all 4 of his touchdowns, not in the second half, in the fourth quarter. My gosh. Yeah, I mean, people talking about, oh, man, he's the front runner for the Heisman. No, there's no front runner right now. Dude, it's the first week of the season. There's no front runner. You know what I mean? Like, holler at me in about 5 weeks. Holler at me about midway through the season, and we can have a little conversation about who's leading the charge for the Heisman. Now, I will say, if he does end up in New York, if he does end up winning it, he has, already a pretty decent, that fake spike is is a pretty nice, you know what I'm saying, Heisman moment. But let's kind of just chill out and hold on a little bit. You got Mason Rudolph, the kid from Oklahoma State. You heard my guy Bill Bender talking about Mason Rudolph when I had him on last week. 20 or 24, 303 yards, 3 touchdowns, and he also ran 4 touchdowns. There's another kid on this team that's going to be on the Heisman watch list as well. They're wide receiver. We'll get to him in just a second. Oregon got a senior running back in Royce Freeman. Again, didn't watch any of the Oregon situation, and I hate myself for not watching it, man. I think I started to, but then, you know, start doing stuff, man. You just can't do all the flipping back and forth, and I don't have that. You know, I don't have direct TV where they give you all the stuff on the same channel types. I don't have that, and Comcast don't offer that, so I got to do it manually. It sucks, man. 2017, having to do anything manually. Then anyway, Royce Freeman, 23 carries, 150 yards, 4 touchdowns. They pounded Southern Utah. So another, you know, preseason type situation. I already talked about JT Barrett, man. JT Barrett had a slow start, but the stat line kind of says something different, right? 304 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, 61 yards rushing. They got Oklahoma this week, though. That should be ill. Saturday, yeah, get ready for that. They're going to host Oklahoma, so Oklahoma's going to the big house, or to the shoe. Oh, not the big house, the shoe. Trace McSorley, the quarterback for Penn State, one of the best deep throwers in college football, 18 for 25. He also carried the ball 12 times for 48 yards and a touchdown. So not a big night, but they didn't need him. You know what I'm saying? 52-0 over Akron. He didn't need to do too much. Then the wide receiver I was just talking about, James Washington out of Oklahoma State, 145 yards and 2 touchdowns in that big time win over Tulsa. And of course, I mentioned Nick Chubb, but see, Nick Chubb didn't even go over 100 yards playing at Appalachian State. And it's not because he didn't, you know, because he wasn't effective. He only carried the ball 15 times. You know what I'm saying? Still managed 2 touchdowns, but just under 100 yards. There's no way in the world that's going to equal a Heisman Trophy campaign in the long run. You know what I mean? Like you got to eat against them little boys, against them little teams. You know who I don't see on this list? That big ass kid from Auburn. What is his name? That big ass running back they had last year, or is he gone this year? Because I didn't watch any of the Auburn games. They played like Georgia Southern. Like it's hard. Like after a long day of football, I can't really find myself in that mode where I'm like, all right, now I'm about to start watching like boo-boo teams play real football teams. Nah, I can't really do it. There's actually I didn't even see this. Guys who dropped out of the Heisman race already, I guess. Jake Browning, my guy from Washington. Shane Buechele, kid from Texas. Why was he even in it? Sam Darnold, mentioned him. Jacob Eason. Nah. DeAndre Francois, well, he's hurt. And he lost, and he played well. Derwin James, the kid that's supposed to be the best player in college football. He's a safety for Florida State. Bo Scarborough, the big running back from Alabama, and Mike Weber, the running back from Ohio State, sophomore running back from Ohio State. All right, we're going to get ready to take a break, take the last break of the show here on Monday, Labor Day Monday, on the One Mic with Big Mike show. Don't forget, if you didn't get a chance to hear the entire show, I got to tell y'all about my fantasy team, too. And my league. I think I'm in a league full of bums, man. Hopefully I'll get to it before I get out of here tonight. Anyway, if you don't get a chance to stick around for the entire show, if you showed up late, make sure you and all your friends know you can get the show on demand on Spreaker, SPREAKER.com. Spreaker also has an app available on all your mobile devices. Tune in, OneMicWithBigMike.com, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Play Music, and YouTube. And, of course, I keep the live video streams up on my Facebook page forever and ever and ever and ever. You can still holler at your boy. Text me at 404-902-8104 or jump on inside my live interactive chat room. You can also leave your comments and questions and whatnot below the live streaming video here on Facebook. I'll try to get to some of these on the other side of the break. But I'll be right back.
I have one question for you.
Do you or someone you know run a business that could benefit from additional exposure? The One Mic with Big Mike show is currently taking on new sponsors and advertisers. One Mic with Big Mike is currently syndicated across 8 different online platforms, and your company's name could be heard and seen across all 8 as well.
Let's get to work.
Please send all inquiries to Mike at onemicwithbigmike.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your continued support.
All I need is one mic.
I heard on the news about that 5-year-old who found his uncle's gun. The kid didn't know it was loaded.
I heard on the news about that 14-year-old girl who was bullied online for like a year. She couldn't take it anymore, so she got her dad's gun from his nightstand.
I heard on the news about that guy who broke into someone's house, stole a gun from the hall closet.
He accidentally shot his cousin in the head.
She killed herself.
And later, killed the owner of the store he was trying to rob.
If you own a gun, you have a full-time responsibility. When you aren't using it, be sure it can't get into the hands of curious children, troubled teenagers, a thief, or anyone else who might misuse it. Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. Remember, always, lock it up. For more information on firearms storage safety, visit ncpc.org. This message brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Ad Council.
One mic.
All I need is one mic.
It's just different.
One mic with Big Mike.
The overall tenor of what he's saying is very stupid.
And they say his style is too urban for the radio.
Maybe it's not racism. Maybe it's placism.
Brother has to know his place, right, Bob?
One mic with Big Mike.
Things aren't always what they seem.
A sports talk show, but no subject matter is off limit.
Don't just tell me that the reason something's being done is because that's the way it's always been done. Because the first thing I'm going to say to you is slavery.
And now, your host.
I got the big homie here who needs no introduction.
Big Mike.
All I need is one mic.
Oh, yeah. 1 hour down here on the One Mic with Big Mike show. Moving right along. Got my homie listening way out in Turkey. In Izmir, Turkey. Shout out to my man Paul, man. Listening to me, or actually watching me here on the Facebook stream. If you guys want to check me out as well, go to facebook.com/1 MICWITHBIGMIKE 1 Mic with Big Mike. You can also check me out live right now on Spreaker.com, or if you download that Spreaker app, I'm there as well. Or if you've got the TuneIn app on your phone or your tablet or whatnot, I'm there as well, and on my website. Go check it out, One Mic with Big Mike.com. Okay, we start off the show talking college football, man. A lot of college football this weekend. It wraps up here in a couple of minutes, or it wraps up tonight, I guess I should say, with Georgia Tech taking on the University of Tennessee. The Chick-fil-A Kickoff Classic right here in the Georgia Dome. I'm going to get off this microphone here in just a second to check it out. During the break, I was checking out my Facebook feed here. My man Peter Quill was talking about the the show Power on Starz season finale. And that show is so stupid. Like, it's the people, the characters on the show are so stupid. It makes the show absolutely makes no sense. I don't understand why it's so popular. Maybe it's just popular because it's a predominantly black cast, and you know how that works. A lot of times people feel like if it's black, I gotta support it. I gotta say I love it. I'm not in that mode, man. Like, yeah, I could care less, to be honest with you. If it's not good, it's not good. And the problem too with me is I hate the show so much, but I continuously find ways to consume it. Like, I don't even have Starz anymore, but there are other ways of procuring certain things. And because I've invested in the first couple of seasons, I don't care about like spoilers. Like, I know what's going to happen before I even watch it. That's the other thing, because like people talk about it online. I don't care about that. Do what you want to do. I think it's stupid when people, I can't believe y'all are doing it. I'm going to unfollow you or unfriend you or delete you or whatever if you tell me what happened in this show. Grow up. And I mean, grow up. It's not the same as actually watching it. But so I watched this last season of Power, and this is how I know it's stupid too, because my woman didn't really have good like TV watching taste. Like, unless it's something that I'm watching and she'll get into it. You know what I mean? Because my TV watching taste is impeccable. Like, I know how to pick shows. Like this show that's coming out on HBO, The Deuce, with Method Man in it. Yeah, it's about to be lit. It's about to be a good show. You know, I'm already calling that. Anyway, she's in here. She comes in here while I'm working there, and I got the Power situation on. And when it ends, she's like, "Wait a minute." Kanan, the 50 Cent character, she calls him Kane. She was like, "Well, why is he hanging out with them? They like friends now?" I was like, "Apparently." And she was like, "But wait, didn't he do all that stuff to that dude's son?" I was like, "Yep." She said, he don't know about it? I was like, yeah, you know about it. It was like, yeah. She said, well, why is this happening? I said, because the show is stupid. It's stupid and nothing is even designed to make sense on the show. You know what I mean? They just like the kids start popping up out of nowhere. One kid just dies for she gets murdered in cold blood, for no reason. It's like, come on, man. Like this dude kills this girl because she says, I know who you are. Okay, so what? A lot of people do. So does he. So does the kid that you actually looking for. It's like they go and kill the dude. I see my man picking up all of the shell casings from the gun. But at no point does he say, you know what? Because the police found the actual bullet in like 2 seconds. I don't know. They just set it up for old girl and now they have to go to jail in the next season, and it's gonna be even more dumb. And she'll find a way to get off. The lawyer that she's banging behind her husband's back that got him off for the it's just it gotta be better, man. It gotta be better than just being black. I mean, it need to be good. Like the storylines need to make sense. Everybody can't be snitch. Like that can't be how every person's story ends. Every person's character ends is because they tell. You know what I mean? Like, who told you about this? Dre. Who told you about this? Tommy. Like, everybody snitching immediately without any regard. But I'm supposed to believe that they run this high tech or this big time dope conglomerate. Nah, I'm good. So good. We only got a couple minutes, so I'm not gonna waste too much more time on this whole situation with power and all this. But y'all know what I'm talking about, man. It's ridiculously stupid. I already mentioned Hurricane Harvey. The cleanup has begun. J.J. Watt, I don't know if he's already there, but he's going for like $20 million now. He started off with a goal of $200,000 for the people in Harvey. And look, here's what's crazy about this, him getting $20 million. Here's what's crazy about it. They're estimating the total cost of everything to be like $1.2 billion. Billion. So his 20 million isn't even like, what is it? Like 1% of 1.2 million is, I think, 120 million, right? Yeah, is $120 million. So his $20 million is a drop in the bucket. You know what I mean? So again, man, if you got a dollar or two, man, call the Red Cross, man, or log on to the Red Cross and and hook that up, man, or go to. I did another one today on PayPal. You can donate with your PayPal account. If you're worried about getting scammed or whatever, you can do it on PayPal or Walmart. I was at Walmart yesterday. The lady was like, "Would you like to give money to the hurricane victims?" You can do it when you're checking out at Walmart, man. There's plenty of different ways that you can contribute, man. If you can, man, I'm a believer that every little bit counts. You know what I'm saying? There's a bunch of people in this world, man. I mean, this country, in the world, I should say too. So, people just, gave a little, man. A little bit adds up to a lot in the end, man. Then if you get this orange bastard in the White House and these folks to stop playing politics with the money and get the funds together for the relief efforts as well, all that coming together, man, these people can be made whole a lot quicker or a lot sooner than later, man. And then, of course, I mentioned Irma's on the way. I don't think there's anything to panic about now, but it's just gonna be a damn shame if anyone else, either on the East Coast, the Carolinas, Florida, got to go through this all over again for them. It's gonna be a damn shame, man. You still got people who don't believe what's happening is man-made. All right, I mean, that's cool with me. I'm 40 years old. I ain't gonna be around that much longer anyway, so I'm just saying, I'm not gonna stress, pull my hair out about it. I'm just saying, there's really no excuse in 2017 to be ignorant. Information is abound, man. You have information, and if you deny information based on stupid beliefs, or the world's gonna end when God says it is, okay, fine. There's no need in having an argument about that. Just okay, you know what I mean? All right. Elsewhere in the world of sports, Ezekiel Elliott has sued the NFL as a part of his appeal And he's got a case, man. And it's what I was telling you guys about when all this stuff started happening, when they started talking about, that there was a possibility of him getting suspended, and it looks good for him to be suspended, or not looks good, but it looks like a probable thing that he was going to be suspended. And what did I say? Okay, if you do this, NFL, you got to be willing to just put all your cards on the table and let people know, how did you come to this decision that the police couldn't even come to? The police couldn't even come to enough of a decision to arrest him, much less charge him, much less try him. Like they circumvented like a bunch of steps to just say, nah, we ain't got enough. We ain't got enough to say he did anything wrong. But some kind of crazy, ridiculous way, the NFL, the National Football League, who once again has no subpoena power, you can't do anything to somebody. Like if somebody shows up to testify and they lie, yeah, nothing you can do. You're the NFL. You don't have any type of legal standing. There's no threat of perjury or contempt of your kangaroo court or any of those things to keep things from happening. And then the big thing that came out, as far as Ezekiel Elliott is concerned, their lead investigator, her name is Kia. Her name is, Kia Roberts. She recommended no punishment. And you say, why is that a big deal? Because she's the only one who interviewed the accuser that the NFL continues to classify as a victim when she is an accuser. You know what I'm saying? This guy, Ezekiel Elliott, hasn't been proven that he's done anything to anyone to cause them to classify her as a victim. But Kia Roberts is the only one to have interviewed her and the other witnesses. No one else did. But when she says to them, nah, it's not enough here to punish this guy, they're like, yeah, stay away. They start having, let me read this to you guys, man. They start having meetings and then invite her. Like the lead, her official position is the director of investigations. Who is this? Cohen. Oh, somebody from the Cowboys got a hold of something, I guess. And they're saying that, quote, Ms. Roberts testified that she was the only person to interview Mr. Elliott's accuser and all other witnesses in the investigation. She interviewed everybody, and she was the only one too. So she got the story straight from, quote unquote, the horse's mouths. It goes on to say she had credibility concerns about the accuser, and that her view was that there was insufficient corroborating evidence that proceed with discipline. She was not invited to communicate her views directly to Commissioner Goodell. Why? That's ridiculous, right? Ms. Roberts was not invited to a meeting with Commissioner Goodell at which other NFL executives discussed the case with him. The people who didn't do the interviews got the chance to talk about the case, but not the woman who headed them up and interviewed everybody. That's foul business, man. Roberts was not invited to a meeting with the 4 advisors who were engaged by the NFL to consult with the commissioner. That's foul business, man. You know what I'm saying? This just tells you exactly what I was saying the other day. They started from the front and worked backwards. They started from the result that they wanted, that this kid did something, and then worked backwards, finding ways to prove it, and then still couldn't. And so to the point where even when Kia Roberts said, nah, I mean, it's not enough here. This girl, her testimony is not credible. They're like, F that. This is when they had the conversation about when they were saying that the lawyer, I guess his lawyer was saying, well, I don't know how she got the bruises. She drinks a lot. Maybe she fell. Or maybe she was doing this. She got into a fight that one night. Maybe she was fighting somebody else. And the dude, I think it was Harold Henderson, as a matter of fact. He was like, because they didn't know how she got the bruises, that must mean that he did it. What? How does that doesn't make any sense. Because I don't know what happened to you. I had to be the one to do it. Yeah, everything about this is foul. And if I'm Ezekiel Elliott at this point, I can't even take 2 games. I can't take 1 game. I can't take no games because there's still a level of guilt associated with that. even if it's on something like I want to just get back on the football field, at this point, this is a little bit more serious than deflating footballs. You know what I'm saying? This is you being a woman beater, cuz. And if these cats are running that kind of racket, unfortunately, man, this dude is gonna have to he's gonna have to fight this, man. He's gonna have to fight this to the end. You know what I mean? And that, under the assumption, of course, that he didn't do anything. And I kind of I resist using the legal terms, because that as football fans, I feel like y'all get caught up in that, saying guilty and innocent, but this is not court. This is a private business. It's not court. It's not the NFL. And then, it is the NFL. It's not, it's not the legal system. Which just kind of ironically, I ran into another article today talking about how these sports organizations, they try to act as though they are their own legal system, and where in fact there is no due process. Like, look at this kid that played here in Atlanta, Rashid Hageman. He got arrested on a domestic violence situation, right? The commissioner immediately, he does this thing now, this new thing that just came about with Ray Rice and all this, the commissioner's exempt list, right? Ray Rice, Greg Hardy and all these kind of things gets put on the commissioner's exempt list, which is basically saying you did something because you can't play. You're not allowed to play. So you're basically being punished. Although you're getting paid, still, it still has the air of a form of punishment, to the point where the Falcons also cut him. I don't know if it's all because of this, because since being drafted out of Minnesota, he hadn't really shown up. Based on, I think he got drafted in the second round, so based on his draft position, he hadn't really shown up and been an impact player. But of course, that didn't help either. And I bring that up to say there is an attitude of, I'm gonna use it here, of guilty until proven otherwise when it comes to the NFL and a lot of sports organizations, because they find themselves in a trap set by public relations. Well, how do we make ourselves look the best? How do we come out of this looking the best, or looking good enough to where it looks as though we tried or we did the best we could do? And of course, with the NFL, it falls back on Ray Rice. Ray Rice getting 2 games. And at the time when that happened, I was like, okay, for the people who were like, I can't believe it's only 2 games. No one was ever saying what was a suitable amount of games. I was like, just tell me, is it 8? Is it all 16? Like, how many games make you feel better about this dude knocking his wife out? At the end of the day, because that's what we're talking about. You felt like 2 games weren't enough because you wanted to compare it to other things like weed. And after the fact, it was Tom Brady. Like, Tom Brady got 4 games, and you initially gave Ray Rice 2, that kind of situation. You start, apples and oranging in it. Sorry. So this article I'm reading is talking about how there's no due process in the world of sports. And it points to a case at the University of Southern California where Zoe Katz, who's the girlfriend of a former USC kicker, she said the Title IX office put words in her mouth to make it sound like she told them she'd been abused by Matt Boymeister, who was eventually kicked out of school behind this. See, the problem with that is, if you're going to, people feel the need to take drastic measures in these situations, again, to cover their own asses. Now, the Title IX office called her a liar, and they say that there's video of the incident, but USC so far hasn't let anybody see it. It seems as though if I had a video that would justify a decision that I made that affected someone's life in that manner, yeah, I'd be quick to pull it out. Bam, throw this in there. Watch this. This is why we did what we did. But they're not letting nobody see it. And because, this is not like a district attorney's office or anything like that, they're not beholden to the public. So they can do that. They can just be like, yeah, we saw it on the video. Can we see the video? No. You can see where that's problematic, right? You know what I'm saying? You can see where somebody in this case could say, I'm not getting a fair shake then. When things like that, when you just don't come out with everything, that's the problem with the NFL. And of course, the problem with the NCAA. Now there's this rash, there's this epidemic of sorts of sexual abuse. And it's not even one of those things where it's about the actual victims of the crimes. That's the part that's really disheartening. It's not about the victims of the crimes. They don't care. They care about the institutions and their universities and the way it makes the entire system look bad as it already looks. Something like that makes it look worse. With the exploitation of the athletes, that's one thing. We've been doing that long enough. We know how to handle that. But then we start talking about people getting gang raped and abused and beat up, women. That's a whole nother ball of wax that they got to deal with. Also, if this don't sound sketchy to you, I don't know what would. The Title IX office didn't even record or transcribe any of the witness interviews. So they were just like having casual conversation with these folks. Like, yeah, let's talk. And no one has any record of anything anyone said. So when this girl says, no, I did not say this dude beat me up, you're putting those words in my mouth. And they're saying, no, we're not. And then when someone says, okay, where's the transcript? We don't have any of those. You know what I mean? Like, this ain't no backwater. This ain't no backwater university. This is one of the top, what do they call it? Like filmography, videography schools in the world. So if you want to write it down, guess what you can do? Pull out a camera. There's plenty of them on the campus of USC. Pull out a camera, stick it in somebody's face, and like, all right, let's depose this person. Do it officially. But they don't have any of those things. And some kid is now out of school. Got kicked out of school for that, and possibly labeled as a woman beater. That's tough, man. That's one of those things. It's hard to shake, man. It's hard to shake that type of stigma. Woman beater, rapist, all those type of things. Especially if you didn't do it. Like, we saw this in the case of that kid Nate Parker that did the Nat Turner movie, Birth of a Nation. Like, I told y'all on the show when that was going down that I read all that stuff. I read all the interviews and the testimony and all that kind of stuff from the trial, and I came out of it saying, like, I don't know who's telling the truth. I don't know anything that happened. And part of the difficulty of knowing what happened was when the accuser says, I don't know what happened. When she says, I don't know what happened, it's like, well, damn, how am I supposed to know? You know what I'm saying? When one dude goes home, the other one ends up going to jail, but then he ends up on appeal going home. Like, I don't know. It's tough, man. But yet, once this dude says he's coming out with a video, coming out with a movie, and of course, I don't know if you guys know the story. The young lady ended up taking her life many, many, many years later. She took her life, and her family was blaming him. I'm talking like many years. Like, she didn't have like postpartum depression. She had a kid on another relationship. She ended up being in drugs real bad, and for whatever reason, her family traces it back like decades, a decade or more previous to her committing suicide, and says it's Nate Parker's fault. And I think that's, it's kind of lazy and easy to do, to put it on the famous guy because that's who you know. But from what I read, she had problems. She had a lot of mental problems, schizophrenia, to the point where her kid was staying with her sister, and they would shut all the blinds and curtains and everything when she would come around, so they wouldn't even know she was in the house, or she wouldn't know they were in the house, and try to see the kids. So, they kind of shunned her as well, from what I read, and she ended up eventually killing herself. But my point is, that dude is still, he and his buddy are still labeled as rapists or sex offenders or whatever. And I don't think for many people it matters whether they did it or not. Like, there was people on both sides of the issue, people saying, oh, it's just because he's coming out with this movie about Nat Turner. And yeah, maybe that could be part of it. Or it could be a part of it could be that he actually did it, and people are convinced that he did it. Like, who the hell knows, man? I mean, I just know myself that it must be tough. Couple minutes left here in the show, and I got to make sure I mention this before I get out of here as well. My Colin Kaepernick protest update for the day is a very stupid one, a very stupid and hypocritical one, which, this shouldn't surprise anyone. The Cleveland the Cleveland Police Department, I guess, we're supposed to hold the American flag at the season opener for the Browns. And they've since declined to do so based on the fact that the Cleveland Browns protested that one night. I think like 15 of their players took a knee, and they said they were praying for their country. This is what they said. They were praying for their country. They had a couple of other teammates. I'm looking at the picture right now. One white boy was kneeling. Here's another white guy, number 4, Colquitt. He's standing behind number 21 with his hand on his shoulder. So it was I guess by NFL standpoints, we're 70% black. It was a mixed crowd. And the Cleveland Police Union took exception to it. And these are some petty MFers. And I'll tell you, I'll remind you of something after I get through reading to you what they had to say about not even the protest. There's a prayer circle. You know what I mean? That's what they said they were doing. We're praying for our country. The Cleveland Police Union will refuse to participate in the raising of the flag during the national anthem ceremony at the Browns home opener. To protest the Browns, they're protesting the Browns players kneeling during the national anthem. The Police Patrolmen's Association president, Steve Loomis, had this to say. Almost bit my damn tongue. The players not standing for the national anthem is offensive because of the sacrifices that people make that allows these guys to enjoy the success they have. He means the blacks should be grateful. While they're benefiting from protection of the flag, they're kneeling in disrespect of it. That makes no sense. The flag doesn't protect anyone. That piece of cloth can't protect nothing. You know what I'm saying? The Browns management and ownership, he goes on to say, condone this disrespectful activity of their employees. Quote, it's just ignorant for someone to do that. It just defies logic to me. Well, you have flawed logic. The fact that management was aware of what they planned on doing, that's as offensive as it gets. I don't really think that's as offensive as it gets. I mean, you can be offended, but there's plenty of things that are more offensive. So he goes on to say, quote, when management allows you to do those things, then that's on them. It's hypocritical of the Browns management and ownership to want to have an armed forces first responder day, and have us involved in it when they allow their players to take a knee during the national anthem. That's the very representation of what we stand for. That's why we aren't going. End quote. I'm sorry. I'm thinking about this, and I want to remind you guys of this is the same police department that I described as extorting Isaiah Crowell last year. When Isaiah Crowell reposted a picture after all the cop shootings were happening, he reposted a picture on his Instagram of someone like slitting the throat, a drawing of someone slitting the throat of a police officer. So they threatened the same thing last year. We just won't come and be security. So because we're mad at this one football player, we're not going to protect the other people in the stadium. And if you want me to I'm gonna get to the extortion part, because after it was all said and done, my man apologized like 5 different times. It wasn't his original post. He just reposted it. He apologized like 5 different times. They made this dude give like a game check to the Dallas Police Department after that kid shot up the protests in Dallas. If you guys remember after I can't even remember who got killed in that one. So many people, man. It's like some dude just got killed a couple weeks ago, shot in the back. He was reaching for his gun, but he got shot in the back in Pennsylvania. Some cop who had already shot somebody at some other point in his career as well. He already killed someone else at some point in his career. So yeah, that's the thing. So yeah, they made this dude. They pressured this dude into giving up his money, man. And I'm like, with the whole police department in Cleveland, F them. You know what I'm saying? These the same folks that killed Tamir Rice. Yeah, go straight to hell, man. If that's the kind of petty stuff they on, I'm not gonna do my job because my feelings is hurt. Think about that. These are the people who are supposed to be strong enough and tough enough to protect the streets. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good, man. So when you hear me say F the police, I'm talking about those guys. Blue lives aren't a thing, player. They're not a real thing. Anyway, man, we're about halfway through the first quarter in this here Georgia Tech Tennessee game. It's 0-0, so I'm about to hop off, man. Bid you guys adieu here on this Labor Day, man. Go watch me some football, take care of some business. You know what I mean? My music here. Appreciate you guys for joining me here on the One Mic with Big Mike show. Don't forget, man, tell your friends, man. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a damn friend. I didn't get a chance to tell you guys about my fantasy league either. I'll tell you guys about it on Wednesday because, like, I think the games start on Thursday. Yeah, I'll tell you guys about my fantasy team, man, and this league that I've got going on with these bums, auto draft bums. Anyway, tell your friends, man. Spreaker.com, the Spreaker app. Download that. If you got the TuneIn app, I'm there as well. iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Play Music, YouTube. The show is available on demand 24 hours a day, man. You can also check it out on my website, onemicwithbigmike.com. Make sure you guys follow and like on social media at the number one, MICWITHBIGMIKE. Enjoy your football, man. We'll be back. Hump day to get you guys over the hump. Short week this week for a lot of y'all, so, you know, we'll try to do an adequate job. I'll try to do an adequate job on Wednesday, excuse me. But until then, remember, all you need is one mic.